So this one is this one. We have enough brightness too, which is crazy, even though they don't have like the bright lights on. All right, cool. All right, so welcome. We are here in episode 21, last episode of this season, Mind Your Business Season 2. I'm not gonna lie, the season's been a lot of rocky roads. I'm telling you, it's roller coaster effing ride. I ain't even gonna say the word, but you know what I'm feeling right. So either way, I've had a lot of different things go on in life, and then a lot of different things go on with different people that I had on the show. Neither here nor there. We're here now, we made it through, and it feels so effing great, right? So first of all, I want to thank all my sponsors that came on the show. UWear, I want to thank Dope and Dedicated, and I also want to thank Paradiso Vacay. Everything y'all have done. I'm not going to do a long shout out for y'all today. I'm just going to let you know thank you for everything you've done, the mentorship, the grind, the hustle, everything you put into me. And thank y'all for coming through on the live. The mic's a little bit different, but I'm letting you know what's going on right now, so you just have a heads up. But the mic's a little bit different when I'm recording through my microphone, so just roll with me. It's gonna sound, you're gonna hear a little bit more than you would hear on here, just letting you know, FYI. So, but first off, I wanna thank my mom and pops for this, because like this third season's about to go hard, you know what I'm saying? Like we're about to have a great time. But thank you. So I'm gonna introduce here, this is Catherine Marie Edwards right here. Katie, oh my God.
It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
I am like
People do it
loose,
all the
I am
time.
loose, I'm bouncing around. Either way, Katie Marie Edwards, I apologize for that. She is doing her thing, she's a model, she is an author, and she's also a coaching model as well. And we're gonna dive into a lot of different subjects on that aspect and go through it as well. So I'm gonna let her introduce herself, and then we can go ahead and get the show rolling. So tell me a little bit about you.
All right. He gave the basic rundown, but I model full time. I've been modeling for 12 years now. I'm in Houston doing this with him, and I've got 2 more photo shoots after this. Had one before this. Busy day. Local to Dallas, Texas. I am a published author. My book just came out. You can find it on Amazon. It's called The Truth, Little Shakespeare Tragedies by Katie Marie Edwards. It is a story of hope. It's a true story. Everything in there is true. I basically go through and share my testimony about everything that I've been through as a domestic violence survivor, abuse survivor, rape survivor, and just healing and the healing process and how messy it can be, but how absolutely important and necessary it is. And then, I have my own coaching business for models, new models, if you've been in the business for a long time. I kind of classify myself more as a pose coach, and I focus more on posing, fluidity, things like that, but also the business side as well, because making it as a full-time model is really hard.
Yes, I mean, I saw you, and the crazy thing is I saw you because I kind of follow you now. I engage in what you have going on, and I saw you post something. You're like, how do I make it as a full-time model? It's like going hard. I'm not done until this amount of time. So where does that drive even come from for you to have the mental fortitude and the spiritual being to be able to push through and to be able to work those long hours to get to where you're trying to go?
I think for me it's all about freedom. So I have the freedom to do what I love, right? So for me it's not like I'm going to a 9 to 5 and I hate it. I've been up since 3 o'clock this morning and I won't go to sleep till probably 11 tonight. But all day long I'm doing something that I love, and I have the privilege and I'm blessed to be able to make a living out of it. So I think that ultimately is the drive, is being able to continue doing what I love while making a living out of it, while also building a platform where I can make a difference in other people's lives, not just be a pretty face, but be someone that encourages others and someone that really brings other people together and inspires other people. That's my biggest drive, honestly.
Okay, and so you talked about that's like your biggest drive. So what created said drive, right? So is there a story or a situation or situations that might have happened to where I was just like, all right, this is what I want to do and I'm going to make it happen? Yes,
sort of. So
okay.
A little bit more background. I grew up in a family with, my dad, my parents had like 3 to 4 businesses together growing up, their own businesses. So I grew up in an entrepreneurial family. My dad always talked about and my grandmother as well always pushed us to go to school or build a career. My dad didn't go to school. It was really hard for him. Owning his own business, he is a scientist. He can literally split atoms. He made a machine to do it. Very smart man, but always shared a story about how he continued to chase his dream, and it was really hard because he didn't have that white coat. So kind of, I grew up with that drive kind of being ingrained in me, I think, a little bit. And then my grandfather also on my mother's side is an entrepreneur as well. He does commercial real estate, so owns a lot of property, and made his living off of that, several different businesses. So I think part of it is having grown up in that and watched that, it I think is a little bit inevitable, at least for me, being I'm the youngest of 5.
Very impressionable. I got you.
But the other part of it is I went into modeling at a really, really hard time in my life. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. My mom, at the time, so my mom put me through modeling and acting classes. I went through Barbizon USA. I know people have kind of mixed feelings about it, but at the end of the day, that's where I found my drive and my own passion. At the time, one of my brothers had committed suicide, and
sorry about that.
It's okay, thank you. And then I was getting bullied a lot in school because I was a little emo kid. I was an angry child at the time. I had already gone through a lot, wasn't able to talk about it. And I found modeling, and that was, I threw myself into it, and acting as well. I did a lot of acting whenever I was younger, but I threw myself into it, and it was my safe space. It was where I could let go, where my mind goes quiet, and it still is to this day. And my dad pushed for me to go to school, and I did. I ended up dropping out, which you can read all about that in my book as well.
There you go. There you go. A little shout out to the book before you even dive into it. But a little shout out. Go ahead.
And so ended up dropping out, moved to Austin for like a year, and then just I wasn't very happy. I was going through a lot. I was dealing with a lot mentally, and so I moved back home, and I was sitting in my dad's office, his home office, and I was like, Dad, I don't know what to do. Like, I'm lost. I don't know what I want to do. And he's like, well, you need to go back to school. And I'd always been afraid to tell my dad this, but I was like, Dad, I don't want to go to school. I don't love it. I hate it. I was failing. I wasn't doing well because my heart wasn't in it. And it just wasn't what I wanted to do. And he was like, then, can I cuss on here?
I'm gonna let it happen. I'll let it ride. That's the last episode. He's the last episode. I let it happen.
And I quote from my father. He said, "Then stop fucking working for free." And because I had been modeling, doing TFP, which is trade for print, trade for photos, whatever. Really exclusively. And I was like, well, I almost don't want to charge people because I love it so much. I just love doing it. It just makes me happy. And he's like, well, if you love doing it, but you also want to make a career out of it. He's like, you have to have a rate. You have to make people pay you. And I was like, okay. So I put together, a rate which was extremely low, but it kind of got me started. And then I got a job in Dallas, 2 jobs in Tyler, and I was modeling on top of that. And I basically just used all of my free time to build up my modeling as much as I could so that I could do that as my full-time job and as my full income. And it was that moment in my dad's office where I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. I'm just going to go for it, see what happens. I'm going to actually give it my all and not hold myself back. I'm going to give myself the chance that I deserve to see if I can really do this and really make it a career. And I did.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'm saying. And that's the beautiful thing is that you can maturate things, and I don't even like to use the word unnecessarily manifest or all that stuff. It's more so of like, if you put the work in, you get out what you put in, like in anything you do in life. So if you put in the work, you'll get out what you put in. You just have to, decide and, go through the barriers within those situations to figure out what you want to do and what you want to become. So I definitely respect that. So, I mean, let's kind of flip it a little bit. Like, so would you kind of say, let's go to an alternate universe. So, Katie's somewhere else. She's over here. She's over here on the right side. She should be on the left side, but you're on the right side right now. Like, would you say, like, this is, like, your dream job of, like, what you would want to do?
Yeah. I mean, I remember growing up, people asking me, because I started modeling and acting whenever I was 12. So at 12 years old, I was like, maybe I want to be a marine biologist. Maybe I want to be a vet. My sister wanted to be a vet. You know, maybe I want to do. You don't really know what you want to do. But my phrase was always, I don't know exactly what I don't have, like, you know, some people have this perfect picture of exactly what their life's going to look like in the future. My answer was always, I want to be successful doing what I love. This is what I love. I'm now successful doing it, so it's my dream job.
Yeah.
Right. So
sure.
I reached my goal, and well, now I just got to find another goal.
Yeah, I mean that's another thing. Goals on top of goals. Don't let me drop this because I can't drop that. This is important right here. This is like the holy grail. But yeah, so yeah, goals are extremely important, especially when it comes to, you know, trying to prosper in life. If you don't have any goals or any intentions of what you're trying to do or where you're trying to go, you're going to be almost like running in a circle, like a rat in a wheel. You know,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So, is there like, you know, any because I like to relate music to everything that you do, and I don't know when you're doing model shoots or when you're doing any type reading scripts or whatever you might be doing, like on the side of what you're doing model coaching as well. Do you ever like have any music that kind of creates the vibe or creates the energy that you want to have whenever you're doing these classes or taking these photos?
Absolutely. Music is very important. A lot of photographers will say, okay, put on whatever playlist you want. I tell my models, create a playlist for yourself that makes you feel good, makes you feel empowered. So I have different playlists that I utilize.
Yeah.
Not ones that I created because that takes way too much time and I'm not going to do it, but like I have an R&B playlist. It's like 90s R&B. So if I have to be really kind of soft and feminine, but also sensual, that's kind of the vibe that I go for.
Yeah.
If I need more energy in the shoot, or if I'm just really tired and I need a song or something that's going to energize me, then I'll put on like a runway playlist or something like that. But yeah, music definitely matters. I can model without it, but the music brings the energy even more.
Yeah.
Because me personally, I model to whatever music that is on. So if it's R&B playing, I'm going to be very sensual and soft. I'm going to move a lot slower. If it's, I don't know, Beyonce playing, I'm going to be moving a lot faster, and my facial expressions are going to be different. I'm going to be emoting differently throughout my body. So yes, music very much matters.
Yeah, and that's what I always thought. So, you know, on top of what you just said, I understand the cinematics and everything that you were just talking about. But who do you like to listen to, like on your just free time in general, not regards to modeling?
Oh, I do not. So I don't necessarily subscribe to specific artists. I'm more of a, I'll hear a song and then I'll play it on repeat for days, sometimes weeks.
Yeah.
Or I'll have
no
like
doubt.
a few, like my top 5 whatever songs. I have, because like for instance, J. Cole, like I love some of his songs, but some of his songs I don't really like.
Yeah.
I think the only person who I like all of their music is A$AP Rocky. I don't even like all of Beyonce's stuff. Rihanna, I like all of her stuff. And
I love Rihanna.
We all love Rihanna.
Yeah, I know,
You
I love
can't
her.
not love Rihanna. If
She
you
has a
don't love
special place in my heart.
Rihanna,
Special place.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those are the main 2 that I'm like, I like all. Oh, and Billie Eilish. All of them, I like pretty much all their music, but I don't listen to them every day.
Yeah, I got
My
you.
playlist is very much all over the place. It'll go from 90s R&B to rap to trap music to classical piano. Like, it's all over the place.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it just kind of depends on my mood.
Okay, I feel you. Like I'm a music person, so I listen to music like all the time. So, you know, I'm like listening to Jay-Z, all these different people, but I'm like a music savant. So I mean, I'm like unorthodox. Like I listen to so much music. It's like, how do you listen to this much music every day?
Yeah.
But then I'm like, there's some people that don't listen to music at all. Like, you know, not at all, but like, you know, in the sense of the quantity of me listening to it. I'm always interested to hear their concepts of how they. It's almost like you see life differently in a certain aspect.
Yeah,
of it
I'm
when it
always
comes to
playing
it.
music. But for instance, the photo shoot that I had this morning, the playlist from Chicago came on. If you have not seen Chicago, you need to go watch it. It's an amazing movie, and the soundtrack is beautiful. And then right after that, it was bachata music. So it's all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, I feel that. It's just, I love it all over the place too. You know what I mean? It be popping, you know. So I'll go ahead and go into it a little bit. Let's kind of go back into your life a little, you know, not too far back, but far enough back to where you can kind of give us a little story about a little bit about you outside of modeling and outside of things that might have happened in the trauma that we're going to get to in a little bit. What is like your favorite childhood memory that you've had that maybe led you to where you're at now, or just your favorite childhood memory in general?
That's a great question. Okay, this is kind of, I guess, a compilation of memories,
Yeah.
but so I grew up in Tyler, Texas, which is a very country town. So I grew up, we had like 3 acres of land. I'm the youngest of 5. I have 3 brothers. So I was always with my brothers, always hanging out with them, and we were always doing hood rat things. In the woods, in the creek, you know, taking a machete out into the woods and just chopping down vines and seeing what we could find. We did find a lot of things. We found an abandoned barn that we would go and spray paint and hang out in. Turns out someone was still using it. So my brother actually got in trouble for that. He got fined because he got caught going back there. And then we found next to that there was like this little shed, and we I don't remember how they did it, but it was locked, and then I think they broke the lock, and we went inside, and there were like a ton of mailboxes for some reason, like just random mailboxes. Like I'm talking like 20 plus mailboxes for no reason.
Yeah.
And just a bunch of random things in there. We just kind of explored. And then one time we found an abandoned car, and it looked like it had been caught on fire, but we went and got some sledgehammers and took it to it. We took sledgehammers to it.
You was wilding out there. Okay, I
Yes.
skateboard, so you know I kind of get where you're going with the lifestyle.
So-
I got you. Go
But you
ahead.
know, country kid stuff, just kind of being wild and crazy. I remember one time me and my brother, so there was my house, and then next to it there was like a creek, and we decided to figure out, okay, where exactly does this creek go?
Yeah.
So we followed the creek all the way up, and it went to a sewage drain, like one of the really big ones that you can fit like your entire body just walk in. So we decided to walk through the sewage drain. Then it got smaller, so we were crawling through it, and then we had to figure out how to get out. So we found a way to get out, and we were looking up, and the little metal cylinder things that are like on the ground, that's
Yeah.
literally for the sewage, where it like all the water and stuff drains.
Yeah. All the nasty stuff.
We
Yeah, I
were
got you.
we were in that, and so we just pushed up the little metal piece and climbed out, and we were like in the neighborhood over. It was wild, but
That sounds
those are
like,
my favorite
You know, it
memories.
sounds like the almost like a Rugrats mixed with Recess, all mixed
Yeah.
together. Y'all was out there just having a good old time with
Yeah,
everything.
so always a fun time.
So, you know, within all that, since we kind of went back into your childhood a little bit, let's even go a little bit deeper, but more like introspective into your mind of what you might have done to maybe change the outcome, or might not change anything at all, right? Like if you could go back to your 13-year-old self, and you can give that 13-year-old self like 5 bullet points of how you could feel like you could be, everything could be different now, or it could be better, what are those things you might say to that person?
Oh gosh, so 13 was quite the year for me. I believe that everything happens for a reason, and
Yeah.
I believe that everything that I was for a purpose. And so I don't necessarily, I wouldn't ever change the past, and I don't ever regret anything, but if I had to kind of give myself pointers, I guess, from like little me, I would tell myself to not worry what other people had to think ever, because ultimately we're all worried about ourselves. No one really is thinking about the other person. You're worried about your business, I'm worried about my business, right?
That's the only thing I'm worried
I-
about.
right, exactly. You know,
I'm not thinking about it.
you're not worried about what I'm thinking about you or anything. You don't care what I do with my life, essentially, or how I portray myself or anything like that, right? So I would tell myself not to worry what other people think. I would tell little me to learn to calm herself. I was a very angry child, and I'm a lot calmer now, but I think it would have been helpful for me to learn that early on, or earlier on. I would tell myself to stay away from boys. I wouldn't listen, but I would tell myself that. Stay far, far away from boys and men, all of them. Although I've learned a lot, I also have dealt with a lot of heartache and a lot of abuse. I would tell myself to stay creative. Don't allow creativity to dissipate.
Yeah.
I have realized recently that I'm not as creative as I used to be whenever I was younger. I don't have that same spark to draw and paint and sculpt and quill and sew and all these different things that I used to love to do. I don't have the same drive to do that because I'm so focused on, oh my gosh, I have to build my business, I have to do this. Well, I really need to set aside time to allow my creative mind to take over. And lastly, I would tell myself to enjoy food. I had a really hard relationship with food growing up, and I developed an eating disorder around the age of 13, actually, and it was really hard for me to get over, and it's still something that like I have to catch myself with even today. But I would tell myself to just enjoy food and enjoy life and indulge in the good things.
Yeah.
And not worry about it.
I'm telling you, those are prime time 5 right there. If you ain't pencil that down, go back and watch it on YouTube so I can get another view. Go back and write it down so you can go ahead and remember that, because that's some good stuff right there. And I mean, honestly, I respect that, especially a lot of things, especially the indulging thing, like understanding that, you know, every situation is important. So if you don't think it is important, that's probably the most important one, you know?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
you know, it's just the food for thought right there, even if that, whatever that means, it kind of fits with, you know, but yeah, you know what I'm going, you know, because that, so at the end of it all, like, I don't know if you said this already, and I apologize if you did, but what do you feel like the turning point was for you when you felt like, all right, I know I can do this modeling thing. I know I can do any actress thing. I know I can do this. I know I can do it. I know I have it handled. What was that turning point for you?
So I think the start of that was where I was really stuck at a crossroads, and I had that conversation with my dad. But I think where I really started to believe in myself was I noticed that whenever I put my rates out there and I said, you know, people reached out to me, oh, I'd love to shoot with you, da da da, and I'd be like, okay, these are my rates. You know, this is what I charge.
Yeah.
I didn't get any pushback. Almost none. I get a little even sometimes, you know, some people just, whatever the situation is, but I didn't get any pushback. And I think that really surprised me, and I was like, oh. So people will.
I got this.
I was like, oh, maybe I can do this. Maybe this could be a real thing. And I think that's where it really took off. And then, like I said, I was working 5 jobs. So I was a hostess, I was a door girl, I was working at a retail company, I was modeling, and I think I did something else for a little bit. I can't even remember what it was. But I slowly quit all of those things and focused on modeling. And I took a really, really, really big leap of faith last year, actually, in February. And I quit my last job around Valentine's Day, actually. So it's almost a year ago today. And I was like, I'm going to focus on modeling full time. It pays most of my bills. I'm going to see if I can do it. And I've been doing it full time for a year now without any additional income.
That has to feel so good.
It does.
I tell people that all the time. When you can put yourself in position to where you're doing what you love, but you can make money off it to where you can live, it's like, that's what you want. I tell you all the time, I'm like, if I could go on tour and just have to make $60,000 a year, it's like, I would go on tour all the time. I was like, I can still pay my bills, have an apartment, do what I need to do, whatever. Exactly. But it's just crazy. I mean, regardless of what's going on, like, I respect that you went all the way in and that you're making actual money off what you're doing.
Yeah.
I respect that.
And a lot of people do not know that. People will be like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I model.
Yeah.
And they're like, no, like, you know, what do you do outside of? And I'm like, no, you're paying my bills right now. You're buying my groceries. This
Taking
is
a
my
picture,
car payment.
smiling, taking a picture.
Like, this is all I got.
Don't
So
let
thank
me be
you.
the one. Don't let me be the one.
Very, very grateful.
No doubt, no doubt. So, I know I didn't want to hold you too long because I know you're a busy person, but I wanted to kind of dive in. I wanted you to kind of tell people about your book a little bit and, let them know kind of what inspired it, where they can get it at and, kind of things like that, before we kind of close out with the last final ones.
Right. So my book is basically chapters of trauma in my life. It starts from a really young age. I don't know, 5 years old maybe. Definitely elementary school age and into college years, adulthood, and basically it's a short book, but I am a good writer, so I know how to get a lot of detail in there without taking up too much time. And so I basically sectioned out my life into chapters, essentially, and I discuss in great detail, so trigger warning if you do go read it, everything that I've been through, from family, mopping up blood in the middle of the night, sweeping up glass in the middle of the night from as a kid, dealing with things like that, the trauma of my brother, he committed suicide, dealing with that, and then my first abusive relationship, and then my second one, and then my third one, and then all of the rapes, I have 7 of them that I encountered, and then the transitional period where I started to find myself, where I started to forgive myself and forgive the people that did me wrong as well, and then what it looked like whenever I went through my healing process, which was very, very messy, and then coming out on the other side and realizing that by holding grudges and by being angry at other people, I'm only hurting myself, but also I was stuck in a victim mentality. And by that I mean I was stuck in a, why did this happen to me? Why can't anything go right? Just really thinking that I was a victim all the time, and that is not empowering. What's empowering is saying, no, I'm not a victim. Yes, I went through these things and it was a trial situation, but I'm not a victim. And if I continue to be a victim for the rest of my life, then I'm never going to reach my dreams.
Exactly.
Because then you're chained to your past, and you can't free yourself. So that's kind of the end conclusion. Is literally the last chapter is called The Victim Mentality. So it goes into great detail, but it also is, a story of hope and inspiration that hopefully other people will read it and learn how to heal, find whatever works for them, because at the end of the day you have to find whatever healing process works for you. Not everyone's is going to be the same.
Exactly, and I completely understand that, because that mentality can completely alter and change your trajectory where you're trying to go in life, and I think that's so valuable that you said that, and that you went through the things, and I apologize you went through those things. If I was a big brother, if I was in that situation and knew you, that dude probably wouldn't be here. I'll delete that later. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's just how I get down in my mind. But anyways, I
you
respect
can find
that.
my book on Amazon.
Yes.
Forgot to add that in there. On Amazon, and then my publisher is Dorrance Publishing.
Yeah.
So you can find it on their website as well. You can also go to my Instagram, and if you go to my website that's in my bio, I have it linked there straight to Dorrance's website.
Yes, yes, for sure. So, before I get into the last question, I wanted to ask you this because I felt like it's a valuable thing for people that are aspiring to become a model or anything that goes into that place in their life. What are like some misconceptions that people have about the modeling business that you can kind of break down, if you feel free to break down about,
So I think one of them is modeling is easy. I can just stand there and, just get my picture taken. But the reason that someone like me gets paid to model is I go in front of the camera. I don't need any direction. So you don't have to tell me what to do. I'm not going to go stand in front of the camera and say, okay, what do you want me to do? You've already given me the vibe. You've given me the outfit. I know how to take it from there and make your vision come to life, literally. Make the photographer, the director, whoever it is, make their vision come to life. That is my point. That's the whole reason you're hiring me. If you're in the fashion world, a lot of people don't know this, runway models, high fashion models, they don't really get paid a lot unless they're in contract with a designer or like Victoria's Secret. Like they basically have like a salary, so they are in contract with Victoria's Secret. They're paying their bills. They used to have a house, and Victoria's Secret models would stay in the house, and they had a personal chef and all these different things. Same thing with like Playboy. They didn't necessarily pay their bills, they just had them move in.
Yeah.
But also paid them for other expenses. So that is a lot of it. Like if I, for instance, nowadays want to do New York Fashion Week, I'm either going to do it for free or I'm going to pay that designer $1,500 to walk in a runway. So it doesn't pay the bills. That's why the whole starving artist thing, but that's why you have to do freelance work, or you have to do something on the side, or be a really big name, and then they're paying you thousands and thousands and thousands. I know someone that is actually in Austin, Texas, and he does other jobs, but he's still a successful model. But he was even impressed with the fact that I'm a full-time model, that I don't have anything else on the side. And being freelance and being with an agency is a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it kind of all depends on your drive and where you value yourself. Like I set my own rates. If I was with an agency, they would set my rates for me. And I've been with an agency before. It's just same but different. I think the other thing that I laugh at is whenever girls, especially that are looking to get into it, think that it's easy and they can just stand there and look pretty, but then they wonder why people won't hire them. And the industry is very, very small.
Yes,
it's very
minute,
small,
very minute.
So it's big, but we're all connected. We kind of all know each other, and we all talk, especially the models. And etiquette, and professionalism is so important. And people don't realize that. Like, if a model or photographer is crude or crass in a shoot, we're all going to talk about it. I'm going to let someone know, they're going to let someone else know, and they're going to let this other person know. And that's just, we all want to protect each other. You know, no one wants to be in a position where, oh, you didn't tell me this photographer was weird, or that he made you feel uncomfortable or anything like that. Or, hey, you didn't tell me this model has no idea what she's doing and I paid her X amount. Photographers get really upset about that, because why would they pay you to do a job that you don't know how to do? Exactly. So I think it's really important to practice your craft. Just like if you're in music, if you're a dancer, if whatever your job is, you have to practice it. There are books. I have posing books. I have studied. I've made my own tear sheets and literally torn pictures out of magazines and then practice those poses. Studying other people, it's something consistent, you know. I'm my own manager, I'm my own booker, I do all of my own travel and booking and my own accounting as well, you know. It's a full-time job, full-time job. I don't ever stop. So I think that's what a lot of people don't realize, is it's a lot more work than what it looks like. And especially I'm working with my physical body, so like I have to go to the chiropractor once a week because I do this full time, and I have to get readjusted because I'm sore.
Damn. Yeah. So I was thinking once a month in my mind when you said it, but you said once a week.
Once a week. Every single week I go to the chiropractor. Sometimes I have ribs out of place. I almost always have to. Yeah. It's very uncomfortable.
Dedication.
From the twisting and turning, and my muscles are always sore. I'm very sore right now. I've got 2 more photo shoots today, and then I got to drive all the way back to Dallas tomorrow. It's a lot of toll on your body that people don't realize.
And it's true. It's so crazy. I love hearing the stories from people that are like really into it and like involved in it, because I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like a photo on the internet of like a ballerina, like they were showing her feet and like her toenails were gone, and I'm like, damn, like that's the grind you have to go to.
Ballet is beautiful until you're in it.
Yeah, exactly. I love it, and that's how everything is. So if you didn't really understand that, I want to rewind that back and then figure out how to understand that, because that's exactly how it goes. But this is. We can go ahead and close it out with the last question. and then we can go ahead and make it happen. We'll shout out what you have going on and like upcoming events, your social media, and we'll take it from there. So, you know, Katie, how do you define success?
My definition of success, and has always been my definition of success, is basically being able to live off of doing what you love. And success is, are you happy with what you're doing, with your life, with where you're at? You know, I can be modeling full time and, you know, think that I love it, but if I'm still unhappy in my life, then I don't believe that I've reached success. So I think success for me is being content and happy, also doing what you love.
Okay, simple and sweet. I like it. You know, you seem like you're sharp. You seem like you have everything going on, and I can't wait to see the future for you. And I'm gonna get your book. I'm gonna check it out, and then the next time you come on the show, the next season, it'll be revamped. Everything going on. We're gonna go a little bit deeper into your book. We'll talk about it a little bit more. But go ahead and like let everybody know where they can find you at, some upcoming events you have going on. If you want to shout out some people too that you know, your photographers or videographers, shout them out too, and then I'll go ahead and close it out.
All right. So you can find me on Instagram and TikTok, as well as my website is all Katie Marie Edwards. My Instagram and TikTok is katie.marie.edwards. It's a little bit long, but I'm easy to find. Facebook, same thing, Katie Marie Edwards. I probably won't accept your Facebook request if you're a stranger, though, so I highly recommend just going
I got lucky.
following me on Instagram. Well, so
I'm messing with you.
I do if I see that you're a photographer, you're in the industry.
I feel that.
If it looks like there could be a reason for me to accept it, but if you're a rando stranger, I'm not going to accept it. I'm just going to delete it. Okay, just being honest.
All jokes over.
On my Instagram, you can pretty much find all information because my website is there in my bio. You can also email me if you're trying to reach me for any reason for coaching. My coaching Instagram is Marie Gaudin Modeling. So it's Marie, and then Gaudin is Gaudin. So that's also on my main Instagram, tagged in the bio to make it easy. I think I would actually like to shout out my parents and close friends for just being there. I've had a lot of hardships and a lot of things with my parents, but you know, they have supported me no matter what we've been through, and we've grown together, and it's a really beautiful thing. My mom is always excited to see my new photo shoots, even though she doesn't like necessarily sometimes I'm naked, you know. But now she understands that I'm not like on Pornhub.
Yeah. It doesn't go that deep. It doesn't cut that deep.
It does not, I
It
promise.
doesn't cut that deep.
It's not that exciting.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, we're here. We're all having a great time. So I'm gonna go ahead and look at everybody here that came in and said hello. Yasmir, thank you. Kevin, Kanan, Mike, Money Mike, thank you for coming through. Arnold, Mercedes, thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate that. And I close out the show the same way every time. If you don't remember anything she said or anything I said, always remember, mind your business. Peace.